Peace to you. I offer you a background to the first reading of today from the book of the prophet Isaiah. We took the text from Isaiah 66, which is a post-exilic text. And the post-exilic text is a reference to those literature that emerged after Israel had come out of the Babylonian captivity. And so they reflect the transformed notion of God the people developed through the exile and life after the exile. And two of these transformations are very key. The first one is that before the exile, Israel had thought of themselves as the possession of God and God as their possession. In fact, they being a possession of God is not any issue as God being their possession, because when they think of God as their possession, they think of their ability to manipulate God. And that actually led to the exile, because they felt that with their sacrifices and the temple offerings that they make, they can twist the hand of God and cause God to do what they want. So God showed them through the exile that He is not that kind of idol that people can dictate to, people can lead and let Him do things that they want Him to do. No, He is God and He does what He wills, and He wants men to follow His dictate instead. And so they learned this lesson the hard way. Sometimes when words fail, then we begin to learn the hard way by lessons, experience. One. So they had this new understanding that then God is not their possession. And they are not the only possession of God, because their punishment came through the hands of pagans, people they considered Gentiles. And their deliverance also came through the hand of a Gentile king. So they grew to understand that God was God of all nations, because God could use anybody to work His wonders. So now they have now developed understanding that the nations could also become God's people. 2. The period after the exile saw a difficulty in settling down, especially when things were tough for them rebuilding the city. And many of the promises that they had received from the prophets of the exile and those who began to prophesy immediately after the exile were long coming. So this belief in the afterlife now began to emerge. It was after this long period that Judaism began to embrace the afterlife. Until then, their belief was more a here and now religious practice. And so Judaism after the exile now began to have this understanding of the afterlife and believed in it, even though until the time of Jesus, even at the time of Jesus, not everyone believed in it. The Sadducees is a clear example, and they are only a group. You have pockets of individuals who will not believe in the afterlife. Now with this belief emerging, and now coming to understand that the nations too can be the tools in the hands of God. God could work them, His wonders through them. God could save the nations as well. So they are also a people of God. Certain debates began to arise, and part of the debate are that, one, how many of the people of the nations will be saved? Are they going to be many? Are they going to be few? And even they themselves, the Jewish people, are they assured of automatic salvation, or they too will have to strive to be saved? And so, especially Rabbi Maimonides and a few others offered ways that a Jewish person can lose a place in the Olam Haba, the life of the world to come. They have a number of practices that could exclude a Jewish person. It is just to say that salvation is not assured merely because somebody is a Jew. The person still will have to strive. And so if you have this background, you then understand why the man will come to ask Jesus this question: will those who are saved be few? Because the person just want to make Jesus comment on that debate. He wanted Jesus' understanding of this issue so that he could compare and see the way forward. Jesus offered his stance on it. We will attend to that later. But we realize that this is coming from how the Jewish religion, the Judaism, had journeyed through times of difficulty to this point in growing in their understanding of God. And you see, brothers and sisters, the Lord oftentimes teaches us sometimes through these kind of experiences we go through, especially when words fail, when his appeals do not make the impact they're supposed to make. God then offers to change or communicate to us in ways that he knows we will better understand what he is saying. So we will attend to the gospel, but then use this as your background to understanding the first reading, and in that light lead you to understand the gospel. Peace to you.